So guys, plans to impeach Fubara is being resisted by the Ijaw Youth Council, which Asari Dokubo is their leader. Honestly, there are real plots on ground by the Wike 27 lawmakers. You know, this speculation has been out there that they are planning to impeach him. But Fubara's people are saying they are not going to let it happen because it's their turn to become governor and Fubara has not even finished first term. They are trying to impeach him. And now Asari Dokubo has this message for Tinubu saying Tinubu should warn Wike to stop what he's doing in Rivers State. That in short, if they dare impeach the governor of the state, that they won't even have a place to stay. I mean, and Wike cannot come back to Rivers State. You need to take your time and watch these videos. So guys, it's really so sad that the judgment that came from the Supreme Court is what is causing all this commotion. In short, one keeps asking if the judiciary is still the last hope for the common man. You need to take your time, watch this video and see what Asari Dokubo said. The message he's sending to Tinubu. Just take a look for yourself.
President Bola Tinubu, there are a lot of things involved in this River State matter. And as a friend, I am advising you, if you are not careful, River State will become like the ancient marina. You are going to carry it on your neck. Earlier, you called your minister and the governor to Abuja again to maintain the status quo. The better it will be. The better it will be. I am saying it. I have everything to lose. But if I don't advise you, I stake my life. I stake everything. I stake my businesses, my source of livelihood for you to become president. And if I am unable to tell you the truth, if you are in your government, I have to stake everything for telling you the truth. I have started doing it now. I am staking everything to tell you the truth. It is left for you to hear, but the result you will see. I did not see Wike until my friends, my associates feel that, oh, there's a need, let us go and see Wike, and we went. And since that day I left, I have never gone there. Even when I'm supposed to call him, I didn't call Wike. I'm saying it live. He's there. I didn't call him. I don't have any personal problem with Wike. I don't have any personal problem with him. I hardly have personal problem with people. I say my mind. If you don't like it, okay. President, let me tell you, if you allow Wike to push this as he's doing, it will be very difficult for him to even come to Rivers State. It will be difficult for those 27 House of Assembly members to even have a place to stay in Rivers State. It will be difficult for anybody if they think that they are going to impeach him and the job people will allow it. It will be difficult to impeach him. Mark this word I'm telling you. God knows. Nobody. It will be difficult to impeach him and bring a governor. It's not going to be possible. Go and ask in Ondo State. Go and ask in Delta State. The fury of the job people. They don't give a damn. They are hardly afraid of. I'm telling you the truth. The earlier you hear this, you accept it. Call Wike. Call Wike, call same. Let them maintain the status quo. That is the only way. If they don't, Alamesi impeachment was Ijaw. So the person who succeeded Alamesi was Ijaw. Good luck, Jonathan. He became vice president and became president. So it is not Alamesi's matter. Try this one and see what will happen. Try this one and see what will happen. A word is enough for the wise.
Will resist any forceful attempt to impeach Fubara, according to IYC. They are one in the Rivers State Assembly. The Ijaw National Council, INC, and Ijaw Youth Council also expressed displeasure at the Supreme Court judgment that reinstalled the Martins Amewule-led State Assembly and the sacking of the elected local government chairman. These two groups threatened a shutdown of oil stations in the Niger Delta if Governor Sim Fubara is impeached. Well, Emmanuel, when you read between the lines, I think there's obviously an ethnic dimension to this crisis and the statements from these two groups. Governor Fubara is Ijaw, so this group sees this as their time, since it is also the first time that the Ijaw man has risen to the position of governor in the state since the return of democracy in 1999.
Yes, it's true. This is the first time we have had an Ijaw person as a governor of a Rivers State since the advent of the Fourth Republic. And it's even more interesting that the Ijaw constitute about half of the population of the state. The Ijaw have about 12 local governments in Rivers State out of 23 local governments. So for over the years, they have felt marginalized in their political expression. And they were very happy when Nyesom Wike, on his own, apparently...
Really on his own, yes.
Apparently, on his own,
yes,
installed an Ijaw person as the governor of the state. But they have fallen out. And based on the Supreme Court judgment, the governor is now in dire straits. One is afraid for him because he's put in between the devil and the deep blue sea, because whatever he decides, he's in trouble. And the Ijaw responding, you also understand that the Ijaw have a potential to cut oil production. They have done it in the past. But I don't think militancy is the way to go. The way to go is through dialogue and political negotiations. And don't also forget that almost half of the legislators with Wike in the House of Assembly are Ijaw. And some of his foot soldiers, notable foot soldiers in Rivers State are Ijaw. Senator George Thompson Sekibo organized a reception by the Ijaw for him, I think last September, that was had a great outpouring of people from within and outside the state. So one would call for caution. One would especially ask the governor, because as it is now, the governor has not said what Wike did to him.
Right. Okay. I mean, I think now it is down to political settlement or negotiation. They will have to find an amicable resolution to this somehow. I think that's the way forward. Let's look at another paper, Daily Independent. Tinubu's trip abroad secured $50.8 billion investment commitments, according to the federal government. This information was made available by the Minister of Industry and Investment, who also says the president has embarked on more than 30 international trips in a bid to attract investment. The ministry now says it will work hard to ensure these commitments materialize in the near future. Well, this is where the real work is. Pronouncements are quite easy. Going from pronouncements now to companies actually, coming to the country, running, functioning efficiently, contributing to the economy, employing people. That is where the real deal lies, Emmanuel.
Well, this coming from Jumoke Uduole, Mrs. It's heartwarming. Actually, she's one of the most presentable faces of this administration. When she speaks with a personality that carries integrity. But $50 billion said to have come in as foreign investments. Some people will look at it as audio investments, because we are yet to see the investments. And when she said that 30 international trips, for 30 international trips,
more than 30.
More than 30. The president has made up that excludes private visits. I want to say that international investors are not just looking, they are out there. They are looking at what is on ground. What is the administration doing on ground to attract? They will not just come if the ground is not it's not waterable, if it's not conducive for investment, I think what the administration should do should be more to look at how you can incentivize those producers on ground. If a government is not using locally made goods, what will make somebody from outside the country to come and invest locally? If you are not using locally made vehicles, it beats my heart when I see an entourage of a governor, of a president, on 20 foreign made vehicles. It doesn't incentivize, it doesn't encourage local producers. I think the government itself should do more by patronizing locally made goods.
And Charles, that's where we talk about not only foreign direct investment, but locally. Do you call it local direct investments or local investments as well? We do have a big market, a potentially massive market that, if well incentivized, can explode.
Well, actually, what she was driving at is the fact that, the foreign direct investments would also impact on the local economy positively, create more jobs, and also encourage corresponding industries to service the foreign direct investments. But remember, what she said was the $50 billion foreign investment commitment. It has not been translated into reality yet. What we have is commitment, so it is still on paper. And she said when that happens, then the changes would also be seen positively. But I was at that event, and she did say quite a lot, particularly harping on the fact that Nigeria is a digital trade or digital economy champion in Africa. And she mentioned, the companies involved in this. So yes, it did paint a very flattering picture of Nigeria as far as, continental business is concerned. But then we're hoping to see this translated into real terms, the impact on the ordinary Nigerian on the street.
You're right that she did say a lot of things. I remember she talked about Nigeria bidding to host the International African Trade Fair, which will also impact the economy. She talked about, trying to make sure that traders get cheaper avenues or channels to export their quality products to other African countries. So there's a lot happening in that ministry, and hopefully we'll see the benefits in due course. We'll also look at Vanguard newspaper this morning. In Vanguard, the story we picked on the website is totally different from what we see on the website or on the front page, but we'll go ahead with the story anyway. It says oil price declined to $73.5 per barrel, threatens budget 2025 revenue target. The budget was based on a crude oil price benchmark of $75 per barrel, oil production of 2.6 million barrels, and the revenue target of 36.35 trillion naira, with 56% coming from oil sales. Now, crude oil output in January stood at 1.737 million barrels per day. So that's way below our estimate, while fall in crude oil price represents 6.6% in revenue decline. So, well, Emmanuel, this is what you get when you have heavy dependence on a product that is highly volatile, that is unpredictable, and it really complicates a country's fiscal policy, as we can see.
On both sides, Nigeria seems to be in a danger as concerning revenue inflow in terms of production and in terms of price. Because when these estimates were made last year, people raised issues that presently, as at last year, that we are not attained 2.2 million barrels per day, because oil production in Nigeria had since 2015 depressed to almost below 1 million barrels per day during the Buhari administration. This administration has been trying to show up, and one must commend the...
they've done relatively well, yes.
And they are trying to open up the taps in the Ogoni land. You remember President Tinubu had a meeting with Ogoni leaders towards opening up 300,000 barrels per day that has been locked up for more than almost 20 years. So, but what one expects is the government, in view of this realization, that oil income, revenue is shrinking, one should expect the administration to cut its coat, to begin to cut down the cost of governance on the part of the legislators and even the executive branches of government. I think in that way we'll be able to meet this headwind frontally.
You know, Charles, when we talk about cutting costs of governance, especially when it comes maybe the civil service or the load, the federal load, we spend at least 70% of our budget on recurrent expenditure. It is not a move that is politically convenient for most politicians, and that's why every administration, they sort of move it to the next administration, and that is where we are today.
Well, my own very funny thought here is that the budget keeps getting padded. You know, we always hear about budget padding, and it gets padded until, you know, all the interests are served, and then we have that final budget that's passed. So I guess this time around, when the oil factor is now coming into play, the budget will now shrink down to its correct size, remove all the paddings, and then we'll have the real budget we're supposed to be operating with, and those who pad the budget will have to cut their coat according to their cloth.
Charles, before you end, so sorry to cut in here. I just wanted to add a little, a little statement at the end of what you said. You know, it was mentioned that it's not very convenient for the politicians. Is this about their convenience at this point? I mean, the economy is having such a tough time at the moment, and I don't think that should be the priority of what is convenient for politicians or not. Another thing I'd like to add on to that is the fact that we were speaking about things that can be done locally, such as using locally made vehicles and all of that. But I'd like to play the devil's advocate by asking, are we there yet with some of these industries? You know, for some things, yes, you know, you can challenge it and bring up some really amazing products. There's some amazing Nigerian companies that are manufacturing on a world level. But for vehicles, I'm not too sure if we're there yet. Please, anybody correct me if I'm wrong on this.
I think we are there. I think we are there. At least we have 3 local assemblies in the country. You understand, when you produce local vehicle production, stimulates other segments of the
Very
economy.
true.
It's a value chain also.
Yes, there's a value. It has the value chain you're talking about. We have in the east, in the southwest, we have North in Ogun State,
Yes.
and in Kaduna we have Pujo. We have the locally made Pujo.
Well, assembly, the people are also talking about assembly plants. You
Right.
know, you may not produce, you know, everything completely here. You can also have other companies that have their assembly plants in Nigeria, but
Thank you
that
for that
also
clarification.
will now fall back on that ease of doing business, you know, the conduciveness of your economic environment.
Yes,
for them to do
electricity,
business.
all of
Yeah.
those things.
Exactly. So it's complicated.
All
You
right.
have to
that actually
think
now
this.
brings in the FDO factor when you talk of those assembly plants.
Right. Okay, let's quickly look at The Guardian. Anxiety as FG frightens news on MDAs with a new payment platform. After 13 years, Remita will cease to be a payment platform for ministries, departments, and agencies. The government is introducing a new system, Treasury Management and Revenue Assurance, TMRAS. The anxiety arises from the fact that this change is sudden, clarifications are yet to be made, and it is believed adequate planning for this is lacking. Emmanuel, very quickly, one of the reasons of this central payment introduced over the years is to check revenue leakages and enhance transparency. It will be interesting now to have a review of Remita, for instance, to see whether we actually achieved that leap in accountability, won't it?
The basic ingredient that is being added to this new system is that automatic deductions of taxes from contractors and such, which were local contractors had over a period of time not paid their taxes as at when due, or sometimes some have even escaped it. So based on this new system, there is going to be automatic deductions for every payment that is made to local contractors. And if I may add, this is why we as journalists and Nigerians should also be very careful when we hear politicians. You know, a few years ago, people were saying that Remita meant was the will belong to Remi Tinubu. And now we see the same Tinubu administration that is doing away with it. So we should be very careful when we hear politicians throw snippets at one another, try to demarcate their rivals.
All right, we're going to move very quickly to the international headlines. Daily Graphic. For a second day, the Ghanaian government is talking about the economic transformation of the country because they have economic problems, soaring inflation. They also have high public debt and cost of living crisis. And onto Citizen newspaper, not in our name, Trump, a group of Afrikaners in South Africa have told President Trump to keep his refugee offer to white South African on grounds that their problems will not be solved in the White House. They said, and I quote, Donald Trump, you put America first, we put South Africa first. No thank you to your refugee offer. Well, this is a sharp contrast to AfriForum, which is another group that presented a picture of dying, maligned and oppressed Afrikaners to President Trump. You learn that you can come in here. I mean, 72% of the private lands in South Africa belong to white people. So I don't know what they're crying about.
Well, Trump did not see this coming, that's for sure. I think he was expecting a more grateful stance, pun intended. But what stands out to me on this as well is not just that the Afrikaners are saying, you know, thank you, but no thank you. But there's a statement that says both black and whites were victim in our country. And the narrative is changing. Were both black and white victims in this instance? That was very jarring for me because I don't agree with that. But it's, you know, looking at it in general, it's very interesting to see that Trump is being rejected. And I wonder how he will respond to this.
Well, let's see. The Times this morning, the Times newspaper, we're ready for peace, Zelensky tells Trump. At the end of the day, it looks like Volodymyr Zelensky has very little or very limited options. Charles, if you want to come in here. The U.S. has the yam and the knife.
Well, Zelensky, I think, did handle himself with grace given the circumstances under which he found himself when confronted by both the President and Vice President of the United States, who were actually extremely hostile. But, you know, some other leader might have just come out and started being defiant. Okay, as it is spoiled, let it just spoil entirely. But then
he can't afford to do that.
Well, of course. But this time around, but you know, some people are crazy enough.
Yes,
I mean, they know that, okay, I'm out on my butt. So
it's not going to happen. This is
definitely. I said some other person would have been crazy enough to do that. But Zelensky has actually demonstrated grace and humility, and of course, he is still diplomatically quoting the United States in spite of what he has gone through. And so, yes, he is still reaching out in spite of everything.
All right. So, final paper this morning, Daily Star. JD Dance. That is, the British are enraged by comments from British Vice President, US Vice President JD Vance, comments he made during an interview. Trump deputy's vice law on Brit heroes. This headline says, you know, Vance slams us as random country who haven't fought a war. You know, the context here is that he granted an interview to Fox News where he talked about U.S. President's security guarantee, which he says is better than some 20,000 troops that are being put together by the coalition of the willing of Keir Starmer. But he has clarified on X that, you know, he didn't refer to the UK or France. You know, he was just saying that they have a better deal. I think we've run out of time, but Emmanuel, you want to
very Dance.
You know, this name reminds us of, remember Dan Quayle, who was vice president to President George Bush between 1992 and 1996, and between 1998 and 1992.
Okay.
He was also seen as a clown, just like JD Vance.
JD Dance.
So guys, you have seen it for yourself. It's so sad to see what is happening in Rivers State. I'm just imagining, how can somebody serve a state for 8 years, he's still not satisfied? He still wants to be the one determining how the state to be governed. Meaning, directly or indirectly, he wants to run the second time. He wants to become the governor for the third term, I mean to say. It's really so sad that these politicians, they don't think of when they leave office, they should go home and sit down and think about what next to do. They want to move from one position to another. People like Wike, we've not been told Wike has ever worked before. In his young age, he was opportune to become, was he the local government chairman or what? He started from there. Now he has risen to this point of becoming the minister. Still, Wike doesn't want to hands off Rivers State. It's really so sad, you know, the way politicians are just out there to grab this power, snatch it by all costs, run with it. The power is not served a la carte. Because looking at it, the government of the day, the Tinubu's government is very complacent. You know, they are very happy with what Wike is doing because all these things are plots ahead of 2027 presidential election. They believe that if Wike succeeds in Rivers State, he's going to hand it over to them, then it's going to make their victory easy. How dare you set the state on fire because of your political interest, because of your political gain? It's really so sad, you know, to see that people have lost their conscience. I'm just wondering, what is Tinubu even looking for to become president? What is it? Okay, now he has served for like two years now. He still has like 2 years to go. After first time, you have become a president. If you feel that has been your long-term dream, you have become a president. What else are you looking for? Is it the money? How much is it that you've not gotten, that you cannot just leave Nigeria to have peace? Look at everywhere, somewhere in this country. Rivers State now, everywhere is hitting since the Supreme Court delivered the judgment they delivered. In short, there is nothing like judiciary in this country, no rule of law. It's really so sad that this country has condescended to this. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Honestly, I'm really feeling for Fubara that he has got to go through all this. We're thinking that with the Supreme Court ruling coming up, that, you know, Fubara is going to have some level of peace. But it's sad to see that the Supreme Court has even worsened things on Fubara. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.